People often believe that talent and hard work are enough to succeed, but what if I told you that even the most gifted soul can be rendered worthless in the wrong place? Once upon a time, in a distant kingdom, a master blacksmith named Revan was known for forging unbreakable swords, weapons so strong they could cut through steel like butter. His skill was unmatched, his reputation legendary, and warriors traveled from distant lands to wield a blade forged by his hands. But as fate would have it, the power he held was not in his own hands, but in the hands of those who ruled the kingdom. When whispers of rebellion spread through the streets, the paranoid king saw shadows of betrayal everywhere, even where there were none. A cunning advisor, envious of Revan's influence, wove a web of lies, convincing the king that the blacksmith was secretly forging weapons for the rebels. Without trial, without warning, Revan was dragged from his workshop, his tools shattered, his hands bound in iron chains. The very weapons he had crafted were now turned against him. Branded a traitor, he was banished to the unforgiving desert, a land where metal held no value, where survival was dictated by water and not by steel. His skill, once celebrated, became a curse. What use was a master craftsman in a place where there were no wars to fight, no soldiers to arm, no anvils to strike? The heat of the desert was relentless, the sands shifting like a living beast, swallowing all who dared challenge its might. Days turned to weeks, and Revan, once a man of power, now scavenged for food, trading his knowledge for mere drops of water. He wandered from one dying settlement to another, where people looked at him with hollow eyes, seeing not a master, but just another broken soul lost in the wastelands. But even in exile, fate had not abandoned him. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, casting long shadows across the dunes, Revan's weary feet stumbled upon something buried deep in the sands, a fragment of metal, unlike anything he had ever seen before. It shimmered under the fading light, pulsing with an energy that sent shivers down his spine. Digging further, he unearthed an ancient ruin, its walls etched with symbols long forgotten, its depths whispering secrets of a lost civilization. Curiosity and desperation drove him forward. Within the heart of the ruin, he found something astonishing, a forge, ancient yet intact, its fire still waiting to be awakened. But this was no ordinary forge. It was crafted from a metal unseen by his time, a forge that did not require coal or bellows, but something else entirely, something he had yet to understand. As he touched its cold surface, a sudden surge of visions flooded his mind, memories not his own, of craftsmen before him, of kings long buried, of weapons forged not for war, but for something greater. And then he understood. This was the forge of legends, the lost secret of the kingdom, hidden away for centuries, forgotten by all but the desert itself. The realization struck him harder than any blade ever could. He had been cast away, deemed useless, abandoned in the sands to wither away. But in truth, he had been sent exactly where he was meant to be. He was never meant to craft weapons for war. He was meant to forge something far greater. With newfound purpose, he set to work, rekindling the fire of the ancient forge, experimenting with the mysterious metal, learning its secrets, bending it to his will. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and as the first weapon emerged from the flames, it was unlike any sword he had ever seen. Light as air, unbreakable as the mountains, glowing with an energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. Word of his creation spread like wildfire, reaching even the kingdom that had forsaken him. When the king heard of a blade unlike any other, a sword that could cut through darkness itself, greed overtook his reason. He sent his army to retrieve the exiled blacksmith, not to honor him, but to claim his creations for himself. But Revan was no longer the man who had begged for mercy at the feet of a king. He had become something else, something greater. When the soldiers arrived, they did not find a broken exile. They found a legend reborn. Standing tall, clad in armor forged from the same mysterious metal, he held his creation in his hands, not as a weapon, but as a symbol. He was no longer a servant of the kingdom. He was a master of his own fate. And for the first time, the world saw what happens when a man is placed where he truly belongs. Because no matter how good you are, if you are in the wrong place, you are worthless. But in the right place, at the right time, you are unstoppable. If you liked this story and its message, please consider sharing my YouTube videos. Your support means everything and helps bring more inspiring stories to life.